I think the best advice that I was given was from my dad at that time. He said to me, Hayley, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I said I would go broke and lose everything.
In your experience, how pivotal is self-belief in shaping long-term success, not just in a career, but in life as a whole?
I think that I come from a farming background, and I grew up in a little farming town in New Zealand. And if you don't believe in the fact that the process is going to work and that the seeds will grow and that it will rain and all of those things, like, you wouldn't get out of bed every day. So I've probably grown up in an environment of, trust the process and believe in, the fact that it's a numbers game. So I live and breathe that from a very young age. If you think about it, delusion, belief, whatever you want to call it. Every successful salesperson has to believe that they're going to sell a house today, that they're going to get a listing, that they're going to make the connects that they need to do. Otherwise, the future would be, very, very uncertain. And certainly as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you have to have a belief in the fact that you've got a very clear vision and that you can kick the goals.
Can you take me back to the moment you first had to back yourself, before there was any real evidence that you could do it? What made you choose belief over doubt in that moment?
There's been many times in my career that I've just had to jump in feet first and believe that I was doing the right thing. Maybe it's a little bit impulsive, but certainly in 2021, when I had had the results business for 5 or 6 years, it was a huge step to buy the 2 offices out on the Bayside. I was going into a lot of debt. I was really scaling up. I really didn't have any indication of how I was going to go from doing 2 offices to 4 offices. I am a sole business owner and director, so I don't have, somebody to kind of bounce those ideas off and someone to fall back on if it all falls in its face. I think the best advice that I was given was from my dad at that time. He said to me, Hayley, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I said I would go broke and lose everything. And he said, what would you do if you went broke and you lost everything? And I said, I would go back to listing and selling real estate. And he said, do you like listing and selling in real estate? It's like, yeah, of course, I love it. And he's like, are you any good at it? Oh, I hope so. I'd back myself in. And he's like, well, what's the fucking problem then?
How do you build belief on the days when results, confidence, or motivation just aren't there?
I've been doing this for long enough to know that not every day is going to be a good day. And some days you're not going to feel like it. Some days you're going to get punched in the guts, or you're going to lose a deal, or there's going to be something that falls flat on its face. And I think resilience over time is certainly something that I've learned. But to be honest with you, when I'm not feeling it and I'm having one of those days, I just remove myself. I think as a leader, the worst thing that you can do is, be in your business with bad energy or not bringing it 100% game. But if something happens at work, because I think every day I wake up like with the excitement of the new day. Like, I'm really grateful for the new opportunities that you can get all day. And I think it feels like such a cliche thing to say, but like in the mornings, I'll do my gratitudes and I'm always like, oh, I'm really grateful for the new opportunities that, we'll get today. And I have that belief in the fact that there will be incredible opportunities that come my way every day. And sometimes, like particularly in business, things don't go your way. You get a massive BAS bill, you get, somebody quits. There's something that just, like ruins your shine. And I think over time you get better at dealing with those things. But when you're not good at dealing with them, just remove yourself, go and do something that does fill you with joy and come back with the best energy you possibly can the next day.
What's the hardest challenge you've ever had to push through? And how did that experience reshape the belief of what you're capable of?
I've had plenty of them. I always like to say that, unfortunately, I've learnt the hard way many, many times. I'm not learning the hard way anymore. I'm learning those lessons. But I certainly think back in 2017, I was exiting a business partner from our results business. I had a brand new baby on the way. I had postnatal depression, and my mum had been hit with a terminal cancer diagnosis. That was probably the absolute lowest point in my life and certainly in my career. It really took a lot of soul searching and I guess redefining, who I am and what I wanted to come back from that. But I think that grit and determination that you muster in those moments is actually the stuff that gets you through, because now everything else is a piece of piss.
Do you have a deeper purpose that drives you? And how does that shape the way you show up, train, and perform every single day?
I don't have some burning why. If I'm really honest with you, I just like to win. And if I don't win, I learn. So for me, I know it's LSKD's motto, but I just like to be 1% better every day. I don't have some unrealistic expectation of turning a business around overnight, because as we know, that's not real life. Somebody works away for 10 years grinding before they're on overnight got a really success. Big, hairy, audacious plan. And certainly for me, I feel and I just keep heading towards it, regardless of what jumps in my way. It's like a step this way, a step that. We move forward. For me, the 1% might just be making a tiny little tweak to my daily routine. So, for years, particularly when I was raising children, it was really dramatic to think that I would not sleep at all during the night, and then I'd have to get up at 5 a.m. and go for a run and have a green juice and have all this pressure on myself to be this perfect mother, this perfect wife, this perfect business owner. Little things, certainly for me this year, that have been little 1%ers was, like going to stuff at school. And you think to yourself, well, what does that have to do with your business? It makes you so much happier and more content with your life when you can have that harmony between high performance business and a home life that doesn't fill you with mum guilt.
How do you lead others to believe in themselves, especially on the days that they're struggling to see it?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. I think it's important. I believe in absolutely everybody that's on our team. That's why they're here. And, but life throws some curveballs at you. And whether or not it's going through a divorce, it's going through an addiction, it's going through other, hurdles in your life, the reality is, as a leader, it's really important to hold space for that person and to believe that they will be back. Do everything that you can to support them and build a scaffold around them to make sure that they have the support and the love that they need to get back on track. And, I've definitely been burnt along the way. There's plenty of times that I've done everything and I've just wanted it more than that person. But that's all part and parcel of, building the world's best team, I guess. You just try again, and, you want the best for everybody.
Looking back on your journey, what role has belief played in getting you to where you are today? And what advice would you give to somebody who's still trying to build that belief in themselves?
I think belief is the most important thing. And for me, there's a couple of things that are really, really key. Particularly when you start, you don't really know, you're not there yet. Potentially you're just building your business, or you've got this big, hairy, audacious goal, and showing up as the person that you want to be is probably easier said than done, but I think that it's something that you need to do. I think that you need to be really clear on your vision for what you want your business or yourself to be and have, and show up as that person every day with the intention of the fact that things are going to fall into place. Believe in the fact that you deserve everything, that you are getting, and take absolute responsibility for where you are in your life and your relationships.